Hey guys, hope everybody's having a fantastic day, whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. I'm glad y'all are here. Real quick, I just want to say thank you to the channel members, and thank you to anybody who's found your way in here to check out my knife and EDC content. Well guys, this is series 4 of case number 1, which is our last video of the first case of the 4 cases I've got before we get into slip joints and fixed blades, if we want to keep on going through these. I'm going to let y'all decide. So what we've got here is we've got the rest of what used to be called the Civivi case, but it's kind of merged into some different stuff. As the way I thought about it is, next one, once y'all decide when you want to see it, I'll do some regular videos, but then I'll probably do my USA made case, and then I'll probably do my high-end import, or I can do my high-end import, USA made, flip those around, and then I can do my overflow case. So this is the Kizer Banish. Guys, this is a fantastic 45 bucks. This is a $45 knife designed by Jacob Lundquist, OEM by Kizer. It's a partnership where it's a Kizer knife, but it's called the Banish, and it is very much in the spirit of the Variant PE and the Vanish, which is my little slip joint. I happen to have all 3 because I've been a big fan of this Qvist design, and when I saw that Jacob Lundquist partnered up with Kizer to bring this little model out, I knew it was going to be good. I didn't know it was going to be a button lock, and I sure did not know it was going to be $45. Yeah, it's a smaller knife, so it's a 5th pocket knife, but it is 154 cm, I'm sorry, 154 cm. It's very slicey for what it is, which is a small Amazon shredder, package opener, therapeutic slicer if you're into that kind of thing. But it is a very slicey little knife, and it has a super smooth button lock. I cannot underestimate enough how light the blade is. You've also got this top flipper here. So when you see that it's not just falling shut, I don't want you to think that that's the action, because if I give it a little wrist, it closes right up. And the top flipper, which is this little nub, whoops, as I miss it, that's ironic, actuates great. You really can't miss it. I missed it the only time, and I hate front flipping, but that's probably the only time I would miss it. So if I want to do my little fancy smancy opening trick, I don't. I could do that. I'm not going to do it again because I'll probably cut myself. But this is the Kizer Banish, and it hangs out in case number 1, and we've got several more knives to look through, so let's get at it. So next to that one, we have the Variant Qvist Variant PE. So this is Jacob Lundquist. His first design was a liner lock. This is an upgraded version. I want you to listen to the detent on this. It's a frame lock, titanium, hollow ground, 20 CV, drop shut. Listen to this. It has got an absolute thunderous, listen, thunderous deployment. Great action. Again, high-end steel, nice high-end scales. If I could cut. Alright guys, I know this knife is not that dull, and I've used it to cut a lot of cardboard, but I've not dulled it that much. That was just me not being able to get into the cut. Super slicey, I just hit the choil. But the Variant PE frame lock is my favorite. I also had a liner lock that those sold for about 69 bucks. I want to say this one was like 115, maybe 130. I want to say Kubi OEMs it, but I could be totally wrong. But guys, the detent is dialed, very elegant lock bar. You've got that same Jacob Lundquist whimsical functional design. So now I've got it in a slip joint, which is the same size as this. My slip joints live in a different place. They'll be their own review. And then I've also got it here in the frame lock. So moving on, we come to a knife that is very interesting, that was a great value at about 170 bucks. This is a PMP. So you guys have seen that big Tianto that I'm trying to sell, the big honking knife. Well, this is the same OEM, same manufacturer, branded under the same brand name. PMP, this is the User 2. And guys, what makes this knife special is this is, to me, the quintessential gentleman's folder. And I know I say that a lot, but maybe I consider myself a gentleman and I like carrying a small, or a gentleman, and I like carrying a small knife. What I like about this knife is it's full sized in length. So if we were going to look at it next to our PM2 and next to our bug out, it's probably going to be right about the size of that bug out. Yeah, it's going to be right around bug out size. A little bit thinner blade, but it is a flat ground, super slicey, high quality S90V blade. I don't know why my cutting's so janky tonight. But this knife to me looks like a knife. It's not too fancy. You've got amazing, let's see if I can get it to focus on that lock bar access. You've got amazing lock bar access. You've got drop shut action. You've got a front flipper that just works. And you guys know I hate front flippers. This is the front flipper only knife. But the reason I went and took a chance on it is because I'd seen, I think it was Jared's video, where he showed how you can easily reverse finger flick it off of the blade. Whoops, as I start failing it. I can middle finger flick this thing off camera 100 times out of 100, and now I can't do it. I'm a goob when it comes to filming stuff, guys. I promise to do better. But anyway, great little knife, super thin blade stock, super thin package, nice wire clip. You've got a touch of color here on the hardware, the titanium hardware. You've got this blacked out DLC coated S90V blade. Got a black backspacer. I wish the hardware was all black. I wish this was blacked out, but that's just me. I don't mind a little pop of color. I'd love for it to have a black clip, black hardware. I just think it would look cool. Very minimal branding. But this is the PMP User 2 in S90V. Got a lanyard hole back there for those lanyard lovers. Fantastic action. Just a great little knife. So as we move on, we come to probably one of the weirder knives in my collection, and a knife with a weird story. Not really a weird story. It just started out and was designed by another designer, and then Bestech. When I went to Blade Show last year, I saw it at the Bestech table, and I knew they'd OEM'd it, but it was actually branded a Bestech knife, and this is the Bestech Syn. And this knife is so frickin' good and so frickin' cool. And yeah, it looks weird. It's got these humps here on the spine, but don't let those fool you, because those are great different choke up points. So if I'm going to use this knife as a utility cutter, I can use that forward choil. I can use that choil. If I'm going to give it some cardboard hard cuts, use the middle one. I've also got this back here. So you've got several different places to place your finger. You've got this deep hollow ground, I want to say Elmax blade. Yeah, deep hollow ground Elmax blade that is an absolute slicer. I'm a big fan of Elmax, guys. I'm a big fan of hollow grinds. So those two things by themselves made me not worry about the look of that blade. And then when I got it in hand and actually started using it, I realized that these different choke up points are there for a reason, depending on what you're cutting, how you like to grip the knife, and it gives you options. Plus, it looks unique. It's got a great kind of trapezoidal, I don't know if you call that a trapezoid, but it's a finger hole, deployment hole that you can get into without getting the hot dog down the hallway. So I can just go for it blindly, and I'm not going to slip my finger through. I'm not going to do anything that's going to make the flip harder than it needs to be. You've got this concealed frame lock, which is probably one of my favorites. I like a frame lock, but I also like a bolster slash concealed frame lock because you're not as likely to put pressure on it with your finger. Has a fantastic milled titanium clip. Again, was OEM by Bestech and going to be another company's knife. Something went on, I'm not exactly sure, don't really care, but it's the Bestech Syn. Pretty rare, great knife. I love it, huge fan. Yeah, and we will continue into the final case. So this little knife, absolutely not my normal jam. This is the Blade HQ Dapper. It's OEM by Giant Mouse, if I'm not mistaken. I just cut my finger, I think. It is M390 Italy, yeah, OEM by Giant Mouse. Blade HQ wanted to do a little knife. And E&G, brother E&G EDC, we were on a live stream together, and he'd asked me if I tried this, because he knew I had a lot of different Giant Mouse knives. He knew I was a fan. And I was like, Ian, no, I haven't tried it. It's not my jam. It's flipper only. And this is when I was in my, I'm vehemently opposed to any flipper only knives. He said, man, the ergos are great. It's a great little fifth pocket carry. I think you'd really like it. Well, lo and behold, about 2 weeks later, Blade HQ had a sale, and this was on sale for 109 bucks. I think it was normally like 169. I think it's OEM by Riot. Very light duty knife, no liner, very, very light steel liners. You got a liner lock, but this flipper action is unbelievable. Ian told me it was great. He did not disappoint. It snaps into place. Low profile flipper here. I can either push button it or light switch it, and it just flies to life. Great little knife. This whole area here is where I put my finger for holding it. I can get a full 4 on it. You've got this titanium backspacer, a little lanyard loop, wire clips, which I love because it makes it go in and out of pocket easily. A great fifth pocket carry knife or light duty primary carry office knife if that's what you need. Just something to get into boxes, to cut through tape and stuff like that. So moving on, we come to another Giant Mouse. This is a Giant Mouse that got a lot of hate early on, and I think I just luckily got a good heat treated one because I put my own edge on this at 17 degrees. I reprofiled it. And I've used it a bunch. It used to be one of my go-to cardboard knives because it fits my hand great. It's a Jesper Voxnez design. It was my first Giant Mouse knife, the first one I experienced, and probably one of my first nicer knives. But it's in M390. I think it's M390. Yeah, M390. Has a little flipper tab, which is great because at the time I was not middle finger flipping. But what Giant Mouse does, amongst other things, so well, I love their jimping, but I love the way they do this little triangular, rounded out flipper tab, because this knife has the snappiest detent, stiffest detent of any of my Giant Mouse knives, without a doubt. It is snappy, and the blade steel is, mine is great. I know there have been a lot of issues, and it may be soft. It may be that I'm just not a hard user, but the way it sharpened, the way it felt on a stone, made me think I might have gotten a good one. It's got a great finger choil for me right in front of that flipper tab. It's a great cardboard shredder. You've got these contoured carbon fiber handles. Again, a wire clip, guys. I am a fan. You can always replace that with a Lynch wire replacement. I've got a couple of those on knives, and on a couple of them I've put my wire clips back on because I've gotten so accustomed to them and they work so well. You do have a nice lanyard hole there, and just a super functional little EDC knife. And this is the Ace Bibleo, and this one's in carbon fiber and M390, and I really like it. It kind of reminds me of my F5.5, but it's different. My F5.5 is better. But I really like this knife. Love the hole. You can't fail the hole. And then you've got the flipper tab to fall back on. I can light switch it. I can push button it. I'm good to go. So that is the Giant Mouse Ace Bibleo. So moving on, we come to this one-of-a-kind knife that I won from brother Jared Neves at Neves Knives. This is the Kizer October, which we've all come to know and love. Some of us love it, some of us think it's weird. But this one is a proto that was sent out to Jared that he put in one of his giveaways that I just happened to win. I'd planned on just passing it on because I do giveaways almost every Friday night. But this one's so unique, I haven't been able to turn loose of it yet. It is absolutely a screamer. I put a smoking edge on it. I love the original October, the liner lock. I had the bacon micarta. I gave it to brother Dark Gravity because I wanted him to check it out. So when this one came in, and it was a proto, and it was kind of a 1-of-1 or 1-of-2, and it has this orange peel finish, titanium clip that says prototype on it. It's a frame lock that works very well. Multiple deployments. You've got the flipper hole, you've got a flipper tab, you've got a satin blade, you've got a therapeutic slicer. To me, this knife is an absolute huge win. I did not expect to fall in love with it as much as I did. Started out my knife collecting being a huge Kizer fan, and have always stayed kind of true to Kizer in terms of buying their higher end knives when I moved to higher end knives, and still really liking a lot of their budget knives, even though I don't spend a lot of my money on budget knives anymore. This little guy right here, and Kizer's premium, even the flat with the flat titanium, the one they actually ran with the actual sculpting in the titanium, is awesome. The October is a great design. It's a Doc collaboration, and to see it get the titanium treatment in either this version or the one they went with makes it a winner for me. I love it. It'll probably be a forever knife for me just because of the story behind it. Big fan, Kizer October. I'll link some of this stuff in the description where you can get the knife similar to it if it's not still available. And I'll try to do those in Amazon links or some of the other links that I've got that are affiliate links. But this is the Kizer October. I really like this knife. I really, really like this particular knife. Feels great in the hand. Totally contoured. Do not feel the clip. World-class jimping. World-class ergonomics. Fantastic sharpening choil. Just cash money. So moving on, we come to the Civivi Vision FG. So when we get into our other box, our customs or our imported higher end knives, we'll see the Wii version of this, but this is the Civivi Vision FG. And I told y'all earlier that that was the Civivi case, what I used to call it, and I didn't really have any Civivis left in it. I was wrong. I've got a couple of Civivis, and one of them that's stuck in my collection that I just love because I think it does several things better than the Wii Vision R. I really just wish the Wii Vision R had thumb studs. I love, love, love this knife. Love the shape. Love the ergos. I think the Snex lock is next level. The blade on this is hyper slicey. Super slicey. Therapeutically so. The action, cash money, thumb studs are dialed in. Lockup is super strong. I don't spine whack, but just so you can see it, it's spine wax. You've got a reversible clip, G10 handle, Nitro V blade, well under 80 bucks. I love this knife. I could recommend it to anybody. The Vision FG, field grade. The Snex lock, basically the way that it engages, if you watch this hole here, you'll see this area come out here. I don't know if you saw my lock video, but you've got this little notch cut into the blade. So when this comes around and catches a stop pin, this little tang that I can pull out on the Wii Vision R drops down into that and pushes it against the blade and the stop pin. So what it results in is a super strong lockup, and it's got a spring down here, so you simply just pull this bar back to release it, and it just pulls it home just perfectly. Great knife. The Wii Vision R is a winner for me. I love it. Moving on, we come to a knife that was one of my first Wii ever. This is the Wii Banter. It came in black. Brother Super said Stevie Wonder Woman at the time, had these scales and he wasn't going to use them or didn't have his banner or something, just did something kind for someone and sent them to me, because I love the banner. At the time I was carrying it all the time. Put these scales on it. You know, I'm a kind of cat dude, but these are the Space Kitty or the Mars Space Kitty scales. This guy's G10 20 CV, has blue thumb studs, has fantastic action on bearings. This was designed by Ben Banners. He wanted a small knife. He says anything longer than your finger or whatever. I can't remember what the way he used to say it. But he designed this little small EDC knife that really is perfect. I've also got the Civivi Baby Banter, but the wee Banter is just a banger. It was one of my first premium knives. I think it's about $109. Sometimes you can get it for $99 on sale. But a great smaller knife in S35VN and G10. And then the Space Kitty scales come up from time to time, or Mars Valley scales, what they're called. So yeah, really a fan of this knife. Have not gotten rid of it. Plan on it being a forever knife just because it has some nostalgic value. And then I've got the sentimental value of the scales. Love them. Love said Stevie. But anyway, we'll move on from there. And we will come to the last two knives in case number one. So this is one of those knives that I was telling you about that came with a wire clip that I put a Lynch deep carry clip on. This is the Lynch deep carry wire replacement clip. You can tell that you've got the place for the wires to go. This clip actually has little tabs that are about the same dimension of those wires. But this is the Spyderco Chaperrel. It is a Taichung Taiwan leaf blade, absolute skinning, slicing, paper destroying, therapeutic slicing, everything Spyderco does right, which is heat treat, steel, fantastic grinds, thin behind the edge, really nice leaf-shaped blade, flat ground, compression lock. I don't know what else to say. It's a great, great little knife. This one I want to say is S30V. It is. So it's just using their standard steel. But guys, it is a joy to carry. It is a joy to cut with. It is very effective at what it does. And for an EDC knife, it is great. The only thing I would like to see is I would like to see more scales for these Taichung Taiwan knives. And I'm sure somebody makes scales for this guy, but I would love to do a scale swap on it. I do scale swaps on most of mine, like my smock, because I'm not crazy about these G10 carbon fibery scales, but the knife as a whole is fantastic. Fits my hand great, kind of like a little Mannix, thin, EDC, all day long, slicey as you'd ever want, fantastic detent. I love it. Does have the Lynch wire replacement clip on it, and this is a Spyderco Chaperrel. So the last knife in case number one is my first Tuya. This is the OG Tuya Big Belly. I thought this was the coolest knife when I saw it, and I still do think it's one of the coolest knives. I love the aggressive grind. I love the harpoon or the thumb stud there. This is a Michael or Micah Glavic design that was a collaboration with Dave over at Tuya. You got a pretty good sharpening choil. Could be better. That's one thing I'm not crazy about. Done fantastically well with the bar lock. You got a bar lock that works very, very well. And you've got an integral. They actually call it monoblock or unibody. But guys, this is one piece of carbon fiber. With everything else milled out. So it's a solid piece. You've got a titanium clip. You've got the two pieces of hardware that holds on the clip and the pivot. So the scales don't come apart. You have to slide the blade out. It is on bearings. I can't reverse flick it very well. I can get it from time to time, but you don't have a lot of room between the scale and the stud has the rings on it. So from a thumb flick or from getting the fleshy part of your finger on it, it does very well, but I can't get the right angle. I've never been able to reverse flick this knife, but it's never detracted me from carrying it because it works so well. A, it looks cool. B, it carries great, has great action, is very slicey. M390. I've sharpened it. Feels great on a stone, so I'm thinking the heat treat's probably pretty dang good. Probably could be better by most people's standards, but for me, that doesn't matter because it holds an edge for what I need it to do. Super slicey. I would imagine this would be a great little hunting knife, skinning knife, game knife for people that do that. Slurpee saver, good at all those things. But guys, that is the Tuya Big Belly. We had the Spyderco Chaperrel. We have the Civivi Banter. We've got the Civivi Vision FG. We have got the Kizer October Proto. We have got the Ace Bibleo. We've got the little Blade HQ Dapper. I think it's called the Dapper. We have got the Qvist Variant PE. We have got the Bestech Syn. We have got the Kizer Banish. And then finally, we've got the PMP, not Tianto, but User 2. So guys, that is the completion of case number 1 in Javon's collection dive. We've got 3 more cases. If you guys like this format, if you like looking at these knives, if it's good for you, let me know. Whether you'd rather see the American case or my higher end imports that I've got picked up over the years, the ones I've hung on to. And I really appreciate it. If you've been here this long, guys, I do ask, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button, that bell notification icon. It does really help me out. But most importantly, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your hearts. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.